Hello friends and welcome to lesson 1D. We will continue with sectors of economy. This is the fourth video of this lesson, and in this video we are going to continue about MSMEs. In the previous video, that is lesson 1C, we have studied about the definition of MSMEs, what is the potential of MSME, especially in a country like India in terms of job creation, exports potential, and overall development of rural areas and semi-urban areas. We have also seen what are the challenges being faced by MSMEs in India, and how in India the micro level industry are not able to grow into smaller one and then further smaller into medium ones. Okay, so a concept of missing middle in India we have also seen very briefly in the previous video. Now, in order to address these various challenges, government of India has taken various initiatives. So there has been a government response for the development of MSMEs. Various schemes have been brought by the government. Now in this video, we are going to see what are these different schemes or initiatives. We will see their objectives, what are the shortcomings of these schemes, that also we will see, so that you get the positive as well as the negative side of it. Meaning, it can help you in answer writing when you're writing answers for UPSC exam. So you need to know the criticism also of various schemes, and then the way forward as to what changes can be done and what new schemes can be brought, which is the proposed solution. Okay, so this video I have made it in such a way that it will help you with answer writing also. It will give you a format as to how you have to address this particular kind of topic if a question comes. So let us begin. The first scheme that we are going to see here is the PMEGP. So this scheme is basically Prime Minister's Employment Generation Program. Okay, so this is the scheme, and the objective of this scheme is to provide financial assistance to individuals and to MSMEs to set up new ventures. Okay, so in order to set up their new businesses, so if there is an individual person who wants to set up his own business, or if someone wants to, or a group of people want to set up a small or micro industry, then for this the Pradhan Mantri Employment Generation Program is very, very useful, and because it gives a financial assistance for setting up of such a industry or business, individual business. However, what is the shortcoming of this particular scheme is that there is a very limited awareness among the potential beneficiaries. So very few people actually know about this scheme in the rural areas. Okay, and because of this, the scheme is not taking up its speed. It is not giving the expected results. Also, there are very high rate of rejection due to complex documentation. The documentation process is purported to be very, very complex. People are not able to submit all the documents that are required because of also lack of awareness. And after that, there is very much lack of guidance also. Okay, so guidance is also lacking to these people as to how to apply, what documents to bring. So the scheme is silent on this part. So that is the reason why this scheme is not picking up the speed that is expected. Now, what is the solution? The solution is that we can simplify the documentation process. That is one way. We can have online verification for ease. Okay, for ease of verification, and for people also not to travel to distant places for document verification and also application, we can have online system. Now, in order to help people, to guide people, we can also set up the local support centers for assisting the applicants in understanding and applying this scheme. So that is what the government can incorporate in this scheme. How exactly it will be done practically, that has to be seen, but these are some of the solutions that can be there. So I hope you have understood the first scheme, what is its objectives, what are the shortcomings, and what are the proposed solutions. Let us come to the next one, the next scheme is called the Credit Guarantee Fund Trust for MSE, okay, for micro and small enterprises. So Credit Guarantee Fund Trust, I will explain to you what does it mean. So basically it means that it is a kind of kind of corpus fund that the government has created, which will provide collateral free credit to MSMEs through banks and financial institutions. So that is the objective, to provide collateral free credit to MSMEs through banks and financial institutions. So that is the another scheme. Now this may be existing MSMEs. So existing MSMEs can get access to institutional credit through this. Now what are the shortcomings of this scheme? Basically, banks are very much hesitant to lend to MSMEs because there are high risks associated. So banks are reluctant or hesitant to lend to MSMEs, and there is very limited reach in rural area. Or as it is, we know that in India the reach of banks in rural areas is very less, and because of that this scheme as such has very limited reach in the rural areas. Whenever, friends, we are talking about MSMEs, please keep 2-3 things in mind. As I have told you, one is about employment generation, one is about rural areas, one is about credit, okay, another one is about exports potential, okay, then regional balance. So these are some of the points where you have to focus on, and these are also the needs of our Indian economy, and MSME is a promising way. We have seen that in the previous video. So the shortcomings that are there will also kind of revolve around this only. Now what is the proposed solution for these problems? One is that we can incentivize banks to lend to MSMEs through higher risk cover or interest subsidies. So that is one way of doing it. Then establish specialized MSME branches in rural areas with the tailored loan schemes. So we can incentivize banks to set up special branches in rural areas which will lend to MSMEs especially, and the loan scheme can also be tailored to the particular area. Whatever, for example, in an area there is a local industry of textiles, maybe producing some saris or these things, then in that area there may be a special branch of any bank which can lend to the people who are actually making these saris. Or so there are many areas in India where there is a speciality in producing some kind of sari, like in Sambalpur, Odisha there is Sambalpuri sari, in Banaras there is Banarsi, in South there is Kanjivaram. So there are various kinds of handloom industry also. Other industries also, depending on, some are food processing industries, so we can have the specialized lending also to them. So that is one of the proposed solutions. Let us look at the third scheme. It is basically the public procurement for MSEs. So public procurement meaning that the government will buy whatever procurement it is doing from MSEs. For example, if the government wants to supply, say books or shoes to the students who are studying in school, so government may come up with a policy that will procure these books or shoes, whatever that it wants to supply through MSEs, that is small industries or micro industries. And this policy has been there since 2012 actually. This is an old policy. Basically what it does is that it reserves 25% of government procurement for MSMEs. That is the objective. Now, but there are obviously shortcomings here also. Bureaucratic delays. Many a times the government has a scheme, but then because of this bureaucratic process and other things, there are a lot of delays in payment also, in placing of the order also, and there are very much stiff competition from large players who exploit the loopholes. So if there are any loopholes in this policy, then the large players, large industries will exploit those loopholes, and they will actually end up getting the orders from the government rather than this small industry who have very limited reach and very limited lobby. So because of lobbying from the large industries, many a time this policy is not implemented in a true sense. So that is one of the shortcomings. Now, what can be the solutions? We have to ensure transparency in the procurement process and create a special cell for MSME grievances. That can be one. Then we can provide MSMEs with access to better training and technology to improve their competitive edge in the tender. So whenever they are participating in the tender, they can be trained how to do it, so that they can have a competitive edge against the large industries also. Coming to the next scheme is the Mudra Yojana. It is very famous Yojana. And what is the objective of this scheme is to offer loan up to rupees 10 lakh to non-corporate, non-farm MSEs, okay, to small and micro enterprises. You must notice one thing here, friends, that most of these schemes are for MSEs, which is micro and small enterprises, and not for medium enterprises. So medium is not included here in most of the schemes, because we want to support this micro and small enterprises so that they can grow and become medium. Okay, because most of our industry in MSME sector is actually MSE. So now what this scheme does is Mudra Yojana, it offers loans to up to rupees 10 lakh to non-corporate, non-farm MSEs. What are the problems in this? There is again very high rate of rejection due to inadequate credit worthiness assessments. Okay, so banks will reject these loans application because it feels that the credit worthiness of the loanee is not up to the mark and they don't want to lend them. And funds are often insufficient to cover the actual capital requirement for growing MSEs, okay, for growing MSMEs. Basically, see, rupees 10 lakh is insufficient to cover the actual requirement of the industry. So if they want to actually grow, they might want to invest in big capital, maybe some machineries or land or whatever. But then this 10 lakh rupees is not sufficient for them to grow. Okay, so it is not really helping them, kind of. So that is one of the shortcomings. What are the proposed solutions? The proposed solution is that we can create a more detailed risk assessment tool that takes into account the unique nature of MSMEs. So the assessment that the bank does, the credit assessment, there can be a more detailed and intricate credit assessment tool so that it can help bank understand what is the nature of MSME, because every industry is not same. So that can be done. Then we can increase the loan limits also for enterprises that show promising growth potential. So let us not stick to this 10 lakh. We can increase this depending on the industry. They let the banks take that decision, and they can loan up to maybe say 1 crore, 10 crores also, if there is really a growth potential in that particular company or industry, and they are doing good. So let it be a little flexible. So that is one solution. Now the next scheme is TUFS, TUFS, which is Technology Upgradation Fund Scheme. As you know that the MSME also lack technology upgradation because of small size, because of lack of awareness, lack of reach, and lack of interest also on the part of the entrepreneurs who are entering into MSMEs. So technology upgradation is another factor that you have to keep in mind. Now there is this one scheme which has the objective to upgrade the technology in MSMEs, and especially in textiles and manufacturing sector. Okay, so let them go into better technology so that they can compete in the global market. But what are the shortcomings? The shortcoming is that there is very low awareness and adoption rates among the MSMEs, especially in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So again, awareness problem, as I have told you. Then lack of access to skilled workers and proper implementation assistance. Again, skilled workers are very, very important if you want to technologically upgrade. So the educational levels of the people who are actually going to work in that factory should also match to that technology, so that they should be able to adapt to that technology. And for them, proper training is required. Proper implementation assistance is also required. Some kind of hand holding is required from the government so that these people can be trained. And for that we have seen many schemes of the government. We are going to see about many schemes of the government whereby we'll see that how government has implemented schemes to upgrade the skills of the people. So one of the scheme is obviously the Skill India Mission. Okay, so Skill India Mission is one of the schemes. Then there is Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. This is another scheme. We are going to see this in detail later on. But these skills can help a little bit in order to help MSMEs get a trained or skilled workforce. So all these schemes you see that they work hand in hand. Now what are the proposed solutions to this problem? Obviously we have to conduct awareness campaigns and workshops in smaller towns and cities, so that in tier 2 and tier 2 cities this technology upgradation can take place. We can provide technical consultancy services to MSMEs for effective technology adoption or application. So that is there. Friends, it is very easy actually. Let me tell you to tell on the paper that we can do these campaigns of awareness in small towns and we can have technical consultancy services for MSMEs. But practically speaking, to implement these is very, very difficult given the large size of our country and given that the onus to train this MSMEs or to give this assistance lies on the government. So in government also we need to have that kind of training, that kind of skills so that it can provide this kind of assistance to the people. So it is very difficult to actually implement. So let us not get into that because that is another part. But these are obviously the solutions which can be proposed, which can be thought of in the long run, and we can definitely think about doing a lot of more things. Now let us come to the next scheme. The next scheme is Udyog Aadhaar Memorandum. It is a kind of Aadhaar card for MSME. Okay, it is a kind of registration for MSME so that it simplifies the registration process basically. Because whenever you have to start a new business or you have to start a new company, you have to register a company, you need to register them first. Without registration, you cannot work. So the registration process is simplified through this. But what are the shortcomings? Obviously, there are many MSMEs which are still unregistered due to lack of digital access and awareness. What are the proposed solutions? To increase the local outreach programs through Gram Panchayats or local governing bodies to educate MSMEs about the benefits of registration. So we can educate them as to what can be benefits of registration. As I have seen in the one of the schemes of public procurement. So in public procurement, obviously government will procure from the companies which are registered. So unregistered companies will not obviously be entertained. So if you are not registered, then you cannot participate into a lot of tenders of the government, and you cannot grow also. You cannot avail the financial benefits also, credit also, so many things. So in order to do that, we have to spread awareness, and this Udyog Aadhaar Memorandum has actually simplified that process, and we just need to spread awareness about it. Okay. Now coming to the next scheme. So the next scheme is basically Cluster Development Program, CDP. What is the objective of this scheme? To promote the growth of MSME clusters by providing infrastructure support and enhancing the competitiveness. Okay, so we can create a cluster where we can give the basic infrastructure. Okay, basic infrastructure can be provided, and so that the MSMEs can actually prosper in this area once they get access to the basic infrastructure. Okay, it can compete in the outer market. Now shortcomings again, that the infrastructure development is slow and many clusters do not receive adequate support. Okay, so obviously infrastructure development is not something which can happen with a magic wand. It needs time, it needs money, it needs funds. So it is usually a slow process. And selection of clusters is often not aligned with the actual industrial needs. So whenever there is selection of clusters, so there is a lot of time there is a mismatch or misalignment that happens. Now, what is the solution? The solution is PPP, maybe in public-private partnership mode. Development of infrastructure can be done so that it is a little faster. We can reassess the selection criteria to focus on MSME clusters with most potential for growth and exports. Okay, so see, export is coming here. So this selection criteria for cluster, MSME cluster, can be reassessed, can be thought of again, so that it actually benefits a particular area and a particular industry. So that can be done at the local level. Now the next one is MSME Champions Portal. What is MSME Champions Portal? So the objective of MSME Champions Portal is to provide real-time solutions to MSME grievances and issue related to finance, technology, raw materials, etc. So it is basically a portal that will give real-time solutions to grievances that MSMEs have related to financing, technology, and raw materials. Again, what is the shortcoming? Very limited usage due to lack of awareness and digital literacy. Many people in rural areas, tier 2, tier 3 cities are not able to take advantage of this. MSMEs in rural areas struggle to access and utilize the platform effectively. So as I have told you, we have this platform, but its use is not up to the potential. What are the proposed solutions? To launch local campaigns to promote the portal and provide training on digital tools. That can be done. We can create an offline helpline or local hubs that can guide MSMEs in leveraging the portal services. Again, easier said than done, but these are the proposed solutions that we can do. So these are some of the important schemes. There are other schemes also which indirectly help MSMEs that we are going to study. Like I have mentioned, Skilled India Mission, and also Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. There are other many schemes. However, these are the prominent ones. And as we go ahead, we are going to look into other schemes also that you can relate to with MSMEs again. Now we have talked about some specific schemes and some specific their specific shortcomings also. Let us now talk about some general shortcomings and broad solutions, okay, about MSMEs in general. Now this we have already discussed. This might kind of be again a revision for you. Lack of digital infrastructure, we have already seen in many of the schemes above. Many MSMEs, particularly in rural areas, they lack access to digital infrastructure necessary to benefit from government initiatives. What can be the solution? Government can introduce affordable, subsidized internet and cloud solutions tailored for MSMEs. So Digital India can be one of the solution to this. This again we are going to see later. What is this? This is the broad solution that is mentioned here. Another broad shortcoming we have seen again that there is an awareness gap. A significant portion of MSMEs are unaware about various government schemes that are available. What can be done? We can leverage mass media campaigns, social media, and local MSME bodies to educate businesses about the available support. Again, basically we have to spread awareness through IEC campaigns. Now what is IEC? IEC is information, education, and communication. So this is the strategy adopted by government in order to reach to the people, in order to send a message that has to be sent to the people, here MSMEs. And with these IEC campaigns, we can spread all this awareness. That can be done. Then next, general shortcoming is access to finance. This again we have seen. So despite this many schemes, many MSMEs struggle to get adequate financing due to risk-averse banking practices. So many banks are very much reluctant and hesitant to lend to these people, and they feel that it will be a non-performing asset if we lend to a particular industry. Maybe we can simplify our documentation process, and also banking can have more simplified due diligence rules that it does, and we can actually benefit the MSMEs by making them aware about these issues. Solution can be that we can expand alternative financing solutions such as peer-to-peer lending, fintech credit platforms. Fintech is basically financial technology, and community-based funding mechanism for MSMEs. These days you must be knowing that Indian stock market has allowed MSMEs to also put its shares on the stock market so that people can buy and invest in them. So that is a good and welcome step by the Indian stock market. You can actually invest in an MSME shares, and MSME can issue shares and stocks and also debt funds to get access to the funds from the people, from the investors. So these proposed solutions, all of that we have discussed here, they aim to create a more inclusive and efficient ecosystem for MSMEs in India, thereby enhancing their growth potential. So, and as you know, if MSMEs grow, then it will create a lot of jobs, it will increase our exports, okay, it will lead to development in rural areas, it will lead to social upliftment also of women and other marginalized sections. Lot of benefits will happen if MSMEs will actually grow in India. Okay, so they can become the growth engine of the country. So I hope you have understood in this lesson about MSMEs. We'll continue about another topic in the next video. Thank you.